Okay guys, I took a bit of time to place lights everywhere, sketching again and place the main lights on the muscular parts, on the other side on the face. And now we are ready to proceed with another step. That is a mixed step using brushes and airbrush. In this step we will work on shadows. To do that, I prefer to start working with airbrush and doing some glazes with the airbrush to increase the power of the shadows, clean the dirty zone, and for sure increase the light hustle that we have done in the first step, that at the moment is a bit covered. But if you spend a bit of time and look at the model, you can see how this part is more reddish and this part is more cold, more bluish. So all the work done in the first step has been kept by our way to work. To do this, I take my airbrush and I put a bit of water inside and I put on my airbrush cap from my palette this violet. Okay, we can start with a bit of violet. This is very diluted color, and we start to clean and increase shadows. This step is very necessary also to clean the face. When I paint shadows in this way, I prefer doing a lot of thin layer with airbrush. I put just a little layer and then I immediately dry with airbrush without color. As you can see, immediately our face reach a strong contrast and also a very good clean surface. I think that this is a very easy way to paint because it's a very easy and free process that allows you to have fun without consider the results, because you have all the time you want to clean and refine stuff. Okay, jump on the shoulder. You can also use masking tape or masking putty if you feel more comfortable, but it's not necessary because you can every time take color from your palette and recover your mistake. Okay. Okay, I include a bit of blue inside my airbrush. As you can see, I take a really thick part of color I don't care about because I shake it very well inside the cup of my airbrush. Please use a dirty and messy brush to do this job. You need to destroy all the little particle of color that is thick. Okay, now with the blue we can start to do the same game on the other side. We can use a bit of blue also to increase the shadow in this front part, but just a really thin layer, just to create a bit of interest or a changing of color here, nothing strong. This is not a hard process, it's not complex, it's just a matter of training to use the airbrush in this subtle way, glazing and layering with a really soft airbrush strokes. I call it strokes because for me it's like a normal paint and a normal brush. I use the airbrush like a brush. I move it, I shackle it, I use from a point from another one. I don't use it in a constant way or like a spray. Okay. Now we can just refine some shadow with a brush to give them a very strong contrast, and then we will jump on the last detail process. Okay, from this part I took from my palette a bit of red, a blue maybe, a violet. I create a strong violet, maybe too much strong. And I use this color just to increase some shadows. In this way I leave a strong brush stroke that give to the character a lot of force. Depends by the subject, but I can use strong shadows to give him a bad aspect or a strong aspect. Maybe he's a warrior, maybe he's a bad guy. So consider also who is your character, what is doing, okay? So this is part of our storytelling. When I paint miniature, I spend a lot of time thinking about him, thinking about my subject and the story that I want to tell to people that observe my pieces, my painting. Which kind of feeling, which kind of emotion I want keep to them. Usually for the eyes I just fill the gap of the eyes with a very thin layers of red, and I'll paint the eyes at the end of my face. I don't like painting the eyes in the previous step because eyes will force me to follow an idea, but painting the eyes at the end I can change this idea about the character or his intention, because through the eyes we can communicate a lot of stuff, a lot of emotion. So especially in the face I prefer to increase a lot the contrast using brush. In some point I'm destroying some lights, but it's not a problem because our colors are on the palette, so in any moment we can fix the mistake. is a sort of glazing, yeah. But sometimes we can also use brushes to create something of really strong. And if we commit a mistake, like me now, we can go to our palette, take a bit of color and fix immediately. Without losing time, I just fix. It's very, very easy. So in this way we can create a strong contrast without spending hours blending color from shadows to lights. As you can see, I just changed my brush again because I'm moving on a bigger surface. So I'm free to use a big brush to paint all the surface. At the same time, I just take a bit of orange maybe, and I can paint the scar with a different color. Then I can highlight a bit the scar with a yellow. It's a very, very fun way to paint. Now we can back with Airbrush and restore our rim light, because we lose the rim light during all the process. So I took my turquoise color, I put inside a bit of blue, so now we can restore our rim light, because we lose it during the process, but in a few seconds we will be able to okay. From this we can mix a bit of skin tone color to create lights and shadow for this part. A sort of greenish part. In this way we create a sort of coherence between lights and shadow, keeping the strong light. And also for this process it's very easy because all the color that we are using are on the palette. There are also color on the palette that I never used. For example, this green or this red maybe. But I don't care about. I just put them because if at some moment I would use a green or something similar, it's my complete disposal without losing time. As you can see, I'm just back to lights to refine a bit. And on this part I can create lights and shadows with a greenish color mixed with my skin tone to create coherences between the parts, because if we just put airbrush spray on a zone to create a source of light, it will be seems a bit too much fake. We need to create a sort of coherence between parts. Oh, sorry. Okay, in this way we placed our lights and our shadows, we restored our blue light from this side, and we got a lot of color transition on our character. Now we can proceed to refine, and I'll show you how to refine this part of the face and this part of the shoulder. To do this I just will work on the lights, and maybe I'll keep a bit of time extra after the whole process, after all the parts will be painted, to fix or restore some shadows, but they are not very important just now. Now we need just to focus on some details on the face or on the shoulder. To do this I prepare a really clear color. And I need to keep it very creamy, so I put inside a bit of yellow, Naples yellow, from Winsor & Newton, that is a very creamy color, and it will allow me to blend easily on the surface of the model like an oil paint. Let's start. I use a very thin and small brush to do it, because I need to take just a bit of color. Place it in my max lights and then blend on the surface. During this step you are free also to work on other details. Maybe start to add some lights on the fur parts of the model. Just to start to have a complete vision of the character. Nothing of refined, nothing of beauty, just to start to understand all the components. But maybe also this kind of lights can help you to understand how to paint the skin tone, how to can place an interest part or something similar. And especially on the part of the transition between maybe bird and skin tone, we need to create some part of connection. Sometimes are just little lines, some brush stroke that create the illusion of the transition between bird and skin tone. Okay. During this step we can take a sort of dirty white to paint the eyes. Oh. Okay, I just ruined the part, but don't worry. We can fix it. To fix it, just take a bit of dark and glossy color, thin layer, and we restore the shadow. Okay, better. Back to our lights. It's the same process that we have just done in 2 steps ago, to place the color, the light color, and then brush them to the shadows. Maybe sometimes you can take the decision to add specific lights that work better only from a direction. For example, these lights here on the chin. And then you need to work to smooth them on the other side. But maybe this kind of lights can help you to give a specific expression or storytelling to your character. Oh, you can see I take color from all the zone of the palette. I don't care about. I just took a tone to create a movement inside. So I can put that zone more greenish, more violet. I don't care about. Okay, this time I changed brushes because I think this one was very old and ruined. In any case, for this process I usually prefer paint with a very good one, very new paint brushes. For example, from this angle, we can find a really interesting place a light here. And then continues the light on this side, so on the... which one? On the cheekbones here, this muscle. And maybe here in this part of the chin, and then play some lights also on the mouth. In this way we create a very good expression from this side, and then we just need to clean a bit on the other side or make some adjustment. Depends by which kind of point of view you want use to tell your story. Okay, at this point We just need to add details like eyes and refine some smoothness, some cleaning, but we got contrast, we got expression and a lot of change in the color. Now it's just a matter of refine to arrive to your goal. And if you need, you can clean or make adjustment using Airbrush. There are no tricks or magic after that kind of painting. Is just a placement of color, a choice of color, and to use all the tools that you can use to reach your goal in the fastest way. And also for lights, if you want to restore some lights, you can do it. You can do it, and doesn't feel strange because we have done a lot of work with underpaints that allow us to change constantly all the colors. At this point you can use everything, every kind of technique. You can use glazing, you can use wet blending, you can use washes, you can take again your airbrush, you're free. It's just a matter of adjustment, to refine, to change some colors. This is the most funny part of the process, and I usually can spend entire days only to still working on it. but the most important thing is, to me, is to try to explain you how easy is to create contrast in few steps, and how easy is to create interest zone, interest point. This is a very easy boost, but you can paint it in with a lot of color inside without focusing only on structure or only on cleaning or blending. So now we will work on all the other elements, the clothes and the tentacles, and when the miniature will be finished, we will go to do the last details, the last final touch. But we need to have a holistic vision of all the miniature to can complete a zone. I never completed zone before I've painted all the others one.